Fortnite fam? Week 2 of our FNCS qualifiers is complete, and it did not disappoint. Many teams came back from a rough qualifier 1 to make their way through to the finals in qualifier 2. Let's check out some of these trios with Reiss and Kelly.
Kiriachi, Stormyrite, and Toos made round 4 in both qualifiers. However, the stories from each of these are quite different. In qualifier 1, they had quite the challenge ahead of them, facing off against Metro, CRR, and X8 off-spawn in Slurpy Swamps. Traditionally, this is Kiriachi, Toos, and Stormyrite's home, but in qualifier 1, Metro's team presented them with an eviction notice. Kiriachi's team lost this off-spawn battle in 4 out of the 6 games and weren't able to capitalize on either of the other 2 games that they did win off-spawn. They ended up with only 35 points for the entire day and placed 30th. Definitely not the finish they were hoping for. However, 2 weeks later in qualifier 2, Slurpy Swamps was back on the market and Kiriachi, Toos, and Stormyrite were home. Given Metro, CRR, and X8 didn't qualify, they were in their element and were able to play their typical playstyle to a T. After only getting 35 points in qualifier 1, they had already amassed 32 after game 1. In qualifier 2, only 3 less with 5 more games remaining. Most people would look at this team at face value and assume based on their previous seasons that they would be a hyper-aggressive W-key focused team, but they are far from it. Their bread and butter is consistent top 5 placements and middling eliminations, and this week they absolutely delivered on that. They placed top 5 in the first 3 matches with an average of 6 eliminations per match. They were the kings of the castle at the halfway mark in the tournament, and they were in the lead by 15 points. In the final 3 games, they didn't manage to get any single-digit placements. However, given the lead they had after the first 3 games and the points they managed to accrue, they ended up in 2nd place overall, earning themselves an auto-qualification slot to the finals. Call me superstitious, but given Kiriachi, Toos, and Stormyrite's qualification last season was also in qualifier 2, this season being in qualifier 2 as well, I think potentially this is just their week.
Now in NA East, Qua, Nico, and Paper showed us that they know how to come back from adversity. In qualifier 1, they struggled to find a consistent balance in their games. They only had 1 game where they found themselves in the top 25 and falling short in their others, placing between 28th and 33rd. They spent their bye week breaking down what went wrong and how they would come back after this performance. In qualifier 2, it was time to put these adjustments to the test, and they paid off immediately as they take the victory royale in game number 1. They remained consistent through the first 5 games by getting at least 15 points each one. Now going into the final game of the day, they knew they had to maintain this consistency. The only team ahead of them were Tabney, Ved, and Pump. Game 6 begins and it is looking bright for Qua, Nico, and Paper as Tabney's team falls early in Weeping Woods. This opens the top spot for the taking and they knew it. However, they get picked off, but manage to get 4 eliminations and place 5th, securing them 2nd place. This is a huge turnaround performance from qualifier 1.
Over in NA West, our focus shifts to Hashira, Kaboo, and Nico, a team newly formed just last month who struggled to make it past Zone 5 in most of their games for Qualifier 1, resulting in their 20th place finish. Unlike EU or NA, their issue wasn't a contested drop spot. In fact, most of their early engagements garnered them a few eliminations against top teams. But their early aggression was a double-edged sword, causing them to take risky fights in unfavorable positions that inevitably ended up in their poor placements throughout the day. Qualifier 2 was a different story. With just a few small adjustments, Hashira, Kaboo, and Nico saw immediate success. Placing in the top 10, coupled with their ability to grab a handful of eliminations, scored them 30 plus points in the first 4 games. Early aggression was still a key factor in their playstyle, but by using long-range snipes, as well as disengaging from unbalanced fights, they were able to survive as a full team and make it to the endgame. This also is in part due to the changes in their rotations, using vision in elevated positions to make informed decisions on how they can safely and efficiently travel to the next zone. By the end of Game 4, they had only spent a total of 70 seconds without a teammate and racked up 25 eliminations. It was a close finish, with only 1 point separating them from 4th place, but due to their ability to learn from Qualifier 1, they have now claimed their spot in the FNCS Finals.
With all these teams showing it is possible, who do you all think will take one of those spots in the final qualifier week? Until then, we'll see you on the battle bus.